Okay, here we are. Going to do a little flight in my brand new A320. Want to have a look around it first if we can. Yep. Let's go outside and have a look around. Great plane, I reckon. I've purposely put Korean Air colours on it today, just because there's nice pretty blue colours for you. Alright, but certainly a great plane. Airbus 330-300. Trying to see if they put my numbers on the tail, but I don't know whether they did. No, they didn't. Okay, these are genuine colours for Korean Air. So okay, well, we'll go back in the cockpit and take it for a little bit of a spin, shall we? What I want to do first is pull up one of my flight controls into my separate screen, so I have easy access to it while we're flying. I'll do that one as well. That's good. Okay, I got everything ready. Couple of things I want to do before we take off this morning. I'm going to turn on my terrain. Let's come down here. Got to put my flight plan in, which I shall do here. So look, where is it? There it is. It's gone in. My flight plan's gone in. Okay. Now, takeoff speed for this bird is normally for the A320 it's about 140. This one is probably closer to 160, but anyway, we'll see what happens when we get going. So first thing I need to do is to make sure we've got some flaps. Go back outside and have a look. Okay, give it some flaps. There we are, is the flaps coming up? Okay, so I've got full flaps on there. Go back inside. Okay. Now, full flaps, gears down, brake off. Let's give it full thrust and we're off, I think. Yep, she's building up. Cockpit, I'll pull back, is pretty similar, as you can see, to the A320. I like the colour a little bit better, it's easier to see. Alright, we're up to 80 knots. I'm going to do a little flight from Brisbane to the Gold Coast, I think. Now we're coming up to 160 V1. Lift her up. Landing gears up. Flaps are up. We'll put on the autopilot. There we go. Okay. I think that's what we were doing anyway. Where were we going anyway? Let's have a look. Oh, you're going from Brisbane to the Gold Coast. That's just a little short flight. It gives us an opportunity to see the plane in flight. I've got the autopilot on. Step outside and have a look around, eh? External. There we go. Pull back a bit, so that's better. As I said, I'm flying today in Korean Air colours, so we can have a good look at it. It's the Airbus 330-300. Nice plane, sleek, a little bit more elongated than the A320. Very smooth aircraft and not quite as noisy as the A320. A little bit quieter. Might go back inside. take that off. As you can see, the if you've been in the A320, the layout is pretty much the same. I've done what I normally do. I have an external screen and I pull my flight control panels out onto the external screen. They're easy to see. I don't have to keep ducking my head down inside. But we're currently flying at about 250 knots. We're climbing to an altitude of 5,100. I've decided to go low airways because it's only a short flight. Okay, so she's going well. Nice and quiet. I could go to sleep doing this. I want to try out the autopilot in a minute, but I haven't. I want to get up to cruise speed first. If she'll hold there, I'll thank you. That control aircraft's on at the moment, which helps me control the aircraft. It's not actually the autopilot. I like to have it on because it helps me to pick up any changes in altitude or course that air traffic control wants me to do. I can't run it and automatic pilot at the same time. We're just at the right altitude. Just wait till we finish this turn. Turning south towards the Gold Coast. We're just going over the top of Archerfield at the moment. Nice sunny day, great weather for flying. I was thinking I might land on the Gabba, but I think it's a bit narrow. Well, those cricketing people. Well, let me see. We've reached our cruising altitude. Let me see if it will work. Let me do the autopilot. There's the autopilot. Is she going to hold? No, she's going to increase the bloody engines and give me an overspeed. She's going to rattle the stick. There she goes. No, don't like that. Take her off again. That's better. Don't want to be messing around with overspeeds this morning. That's fine. She's keeping the altitude. That's good. Logan Reserve Airport down there. That's only a small provincial little airport for light planes. Always good to know where they are in case you need to do an emergency landing somewhere. With this big bird, I think I'd have to put it down on a highway somewhere. I think. I'm looking forward to that. I might go down in the Hudson one of these days just to see what it's like. As you can see, running a very smooth flight, which is pretty good. Now, I purposely turned off the voice, ATC voice, because we've had a few problems with ATC there. They're supposed to be fixing it up, the next upgrade, but it will keep telling you to descend to your assigned altitude when you're already at your assigned altitude. It drives you nuts, so I've turned it off. When I get a direction from air traffic control now, I hear the gongs go off. Cheep, cheep, cheep. And I know that they've asked for something new. And if I look down here, I can see what altitude they've asked me to go to. Now, I know you can't see it too well because I've taken it out. Hang on, put it down here. You see, it's got me. It's asked me to be at 5,100 at the moment, which is basically what I am, within 100 or so, 100 feet or so. So, and it's right on course. So that they've got a speed of 250 knots, and we're travelling to a leg called Movie. Just let me come up here and I'll show you. I'll pull this down here, the navlog. There's Movie, 49 to Movie. Alright, well, we're almost at the Gold Coast. So it's not a very long flight, just a short one. And it shows you the heading that you're on. Alright. We're heading at 133 degrees at the moment. 11 nautical miles till we change. Now you can see some terrain coming up on the map at the right. Shift that out of there. I'll get out of here. Okay. There's some terrain coming up. That's good. Because we're going to be going into the mountains a little bit before we approach the Gold Coast. If the green like that, we're fine. Then it goes lighter green, we're okay, we're still fine. It'll go to orange, and we're getting pretty low over the mountains. If it goes to red, we're in trouble. Alright, so we climb very, very quickly. But when you get over the mountains and your altitude is a little bit lower than it should be, it'll call out the altitude so you know where you are. Here's Movie coming through to the end. And we change to the next leg, which is basically the Gold Coast. Yep. I see I've got the terrain on, so I can see see how far I am off the mountains underneath us. Okay. Now the Gold Coast is over in front of us about here. Runway's about here. But we never ever go straight in. We need to do a right turn and do a loop around over the Gold Coast hinterland, come back around, and then we can line up for a landing. Damn hostess hasn't brought me a cup of coffee yet this morning. Oh, to fix her up. Can't get good help. As you can see in this plane, you got a side stick. Alright, I don't use the side stick. I do have one. I don't like it. It tends to be not as accurate as I would like, so I prefer to use the yoke, which will do the same thing for me. When I pull back on the side stick on takeoff, it has a tendency to throw me to the left, which I don't like. It doesn't stay in position long enough for me to gain the altitude I'd like. We're about to turn right here, as I said, to go over the Gold Coast hinterland. So we're coming around to what? To 123. Not for long, of course. .120 degrees. Coming around. You see the mountains are starting to show up. We'll do that as we head towards over the mountains here, the Gold Coast hinterland. And we're pretty well clear of them. Higher, we don't need to worry about going higher. They're more like pimples than mountains. you I did have to do a fast climb out of New Zealand the other day. Mount Cook underneath me. I didn't have enough altitude. I left it to the autopilot and I went to get a cup of coffee and I come back and I saw these red blotches on the terrain warning and I thought, uh-oh. So of course quickly turned off the autopilot and got out of there. Gained some altitude. And we ended up clearing it by about 1,500 feet. It wasn't too bad. I like flying on a clear day. You can see the scenery and good. Can I have a look out the side here? Are these people living up in the Gold Coast hinterland? What have we got down there? I'm not sure. I do have a co-pilot, but they're invisible at the moment. I haven't had a look. I do have some visible co-pilots. I haven't had a look to see if I've got one for the A330. I didn't have one for the A320, so I don't know whether there's one there for the A330. I must have a look. I hear you, when I've got the ATC on, you can hear my co-pilot's voice. I've got a female co-pilot. At the moment you can't see her. That'll be coming. A lot of big changes happening in Flight Sim. Yeah, we're looking at, we're set for the ILS for runway 14 into the Gold Coast. Yeah, runway 14 is reasonably long runway, not the longest one they've got. I think 35 is probably the longest one. It's enough to get us down on the ground, we think. I'm watching the ILS a little bit closely on this plane. I mean, I haven't got used to it yet, and I don't know quite how accurate it is. Last landing I just did in Port Elizabeth in South Africa. It came in a little bit high, and I ended up having to force her down onto the ground in the end to land. So I don't know whether that's going to happen this time. I hope not. Everything appears to happen slowly when you're flying a big jet. It's not really that slow. It's really not. You know, you're doing what, 250 knots, which is still a fair hike. It just, because of your distance off the ground, it just looks slow. But that's the part of the safety of flying, because you got to be safe and steady and do the right thing. Try and fly around like you're speed driving a car, you'll end up crashing. There are certain descents that you need to observe. I can turn on the approach if I want to. Okay. Approach mode is on. Not ready yet. That's Southport in front of us, in the ocean. Southport actually has an airport now, apparently. Didn't when I lived up there, it does now. Only a small airport for light planes, I guess. Could probably put the Citation down there, but Citation jet. Certainly not one of these. About time I brought my Citation out for a flight. I haven't used it for a while. Wahaha. I said this is a checked flight for my A320-300 or A330-300. I do beg your pardon. Only got this one this morning. So far I haven't put any dents in it. I haven't found out if it's going to float yet. Let's line up on the runway. Should pick up the ILS shortly. Like to get some more scenery for the Gold Coast. Who's sending me messages? So I recorded my radio station program this morning. That's in the slot, the radio station already, for next Friday. I like to do it early on a Sunday morning. I'm generally up at the crack of dawn anyway. So I put my 2 hours in and record my show, and it's available for you on Fridays. I know this area so well, lived here for many years. In front of us will be Southport and the Broadwater. I just pulled my flaps down and my wheels are down, preparing for a landing. The overspeed warning, that's the shaker. That will automatically come off. We've just changed our flight rules, so that'll come down now. As the aircraft slows down for landing, we need to be usually about 160, 158 is probably a good landing speed for one of these. So we're about there at the moment, which is good. Currently travelling at currently 3,000 feet. It'll actually be a little bit lower than that because we'll have some mountainous stuff underneath us. You can see on down here, you can see some red stuff down there, or orange stuff. We won't be flying over that, it's too low to do that. I think we've been asked to descend. They've given me clearance for the approach. runway 14. Okay. That's Southport there, as I said, on the left, and ahead is the Gold Coast. A lot of skyscrapers there. They show us big rocks until we get closer because we don't have the range to see them properly, unfortunately. They will come clearer as we get closer. Be watching this landing very closely. When I get to about 5 kilometres out, I'll take over myself from the co-pilot, land it myself. I'm very interested to see if it will behave itself and call the altitude down correctly. At least we've got the ILS. That's something. Yes. I've got some more scenery for this area I haven't installed yet. I'd like to do that soon. .28 kilometres. Nice steady descent. So we're about 3,000 feet at the moment. It won't start to descend until we get a little bit closer. Your angle of attack for the landing is very important too. Generally try and flare at the last minute, but in doing that you have to be careful you don't pull back too far and take off again, which can happen. You have to hold her steady and put her down on the runway. Don't want to scratch my nice new plane. Let's go outside and watch the approach. There. There's the Gold Coast. Surface paradise. Broadwater. Chevron Island, a few other places. As you can see, wheels are down. "19 kilometres still." Have a look. I might see if I can do this landing from outside. It's a bit tricky. Very hard to line up like this. Those homes down there are worth a few bob, I can tell you. Mermaid Beach down there, Nobby's Beach. And we go down to Burleigh Heads down here. That's Nobby's little mountain down there. Used to be a little magic castle on top of it. 2,500. Used to be a little castle on top of Nobby's, where a friend of mine used to do his magic act all the time. Yeah, I think we might go back inside and do the landing. So I've got more control. Here we go. Still 11 kilometres out. I'd like to find some more generic liveries for this aircraft. I don't want to have to keep promoting airlines all the time. You can design your own liveries. You can virtually take your plane apart, paint each individual piece, put it back together again. Haven't got around to doing that yet. Okay, I have control. .1,000 feet coming up. Thank you. I didn't think he was going to call it. It's a last minute check on my instruments here. Everything's fine. Flaps. Some very nervous people in the houses down there, just in case we drop on their head. 500. 400.
200.
Thank you.
100. 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
Welcome to the Gold Coast. We might take the next exit. We're running out of runway otherwise. have a look how it parks it now. It's nice and peaceful flying when you haven't got the air traffic control blaring in your ear all the time, giving you wrong information you really don't need. Actually, that was quite a smooth flight, really. No worries, mate. Not much turbulence today, which is good. Sometimes turbulence can be a problem, particularly when you're approaching the ILS. I met Mel Gibson at this airport all those years ago. He hasn't grown any. I couldn't believe how short he was. Wasn't wearing his platform shoes, obviously. Come on, co-pilot, you can go faster than that. Yeah, as I said, they've got some great new aircraft coming out for flight sim. Hasn't got here yet. I did see a little ultralight plane for sale the other day, you know, in one of the places, and I think that'd be ideal for just, you know, if you sort of want to take off from Sydney Airport or something, fly around the harbour and have a look at everything. Because they've got some great scenery around Sydney Harbour at the moment. Pull up here. He's going to pull up here almost on the grass. The parking's to the left, and then he's going to take us to the right. Okay. Let's go back to main menu. That'll do us today. There we go. So that's the A320. I'll show it to you in the hangar before we go. When I get loaded back in, let's close this down. That's it, good. Okay. I might change it to a different livery. Okay. That's it there. No. Okay. Back to there. Oh, there's my hangar. Options, controls, profile. There's my hangar, and there's my plane in the hangar that we just flew. What I might just do is change the livery over here. I don't like that now that I've flown it. Let's come down here with the livery. Oh God, where are we? Airliners. Do that one. Livery, thank you. Okay, Air Canada, Air France, all these different liveries available for it. Korean. I might stick it back on Qantas, I think. Qantastic. There it is. Qantas. Thank you. Back into there. Okay. Okay, where are we? Anger. There we go. Qantas colours. Good looking plane. Seems to fly well. And there you have it. On that happy note, I will say farewell to the next video.